even in the midst of going that way, I got in an accident. Like, I hit someone's car that was parked in my neighborhood. And you would think I would turn around. Like, it was literally around the corner from my house. I just kept going. You see, when God tried to stop you and you still keep going, that was like the warning, like, girl, you're not even safe to drive. But look how good God is. Although I was on my way to sin, God made sure that I made it to my destination. Like, I could have literally lost my life on my way there. I'm just going to keep it real because I hit somebody's car that was parked. So you know what kind of state I was in. But I made it there. I made it there and it happened. Like, and I was kind of trying to fight it off. Like, no. Like, I kind of second guessed it. Like, no. And the person like, no, just do it. And I gave in. And after that, it was a wrap. And literally after 5 years of waiting, it became a different story. Like, it was everything that I went through before was multiplied times 100. Everything I was going through, things that I did not see in him that were like clear red flags, I saw clearly. And you have to understand this. You can never be in a relationship with somebody that is not on the same walk as you. Because how can two walk together unless they agree? Amos chapter 3, verse 3. And also in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33 through 34, it states, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Come back to your senses as you ought and stop sinning. For there are some who are ignorant of God. I say this to your shame. Because I was in a shameful place. And a lot of times when you sin and you fall, the enemy will send condemnation, that you'll start thinking that you're not good enough, that God won't receive you back, that God won't forgive you, that you're just never going to come out of this situation, that you're just a failure and you're just pathetic. And that's the things that the enemy will tell you about yourself. But that's not what God thinks about you, and not accept you back into the kingdom. That you are a kingdom citizen. Yeah, you may try to go your own way, but when you know the truth, you'll always come back. And that's why I'm so grateful that I knew the truth in that season, because no matter how far I went out, I literally would be in hotel rooms with my Bible. Like, I'm like, God, I don't know. It's so hard for me to leave right now. I even prayed this prayer. I said, God, this time around, I want it to hurt so bad that I never come back. That whatever lesson that I need to learn in this season right now with this person, let me learn it and let me never come back to this place again. That this will be the last time we do this. That we're not going to be with this back and forth anymore. And that was my prayer. And so in the midst of me going through that, I was with my Bible. I was praying. I was like, I don't know what's going on. And that's how you have to be. I don't want anyone to stay in a place of sin, because I just should have just walked away. That God gives you the power to walk away from sin and walk away from sexual immortality. But I just knew right then and there that I needed it hurt, because I know me, I'm hard-headed. I was back in a situation where the soul tie was formed again, and it was stronger. That, wow, like, I just can't even explain the emotional turmoil, the emotional bondage, the emotional drainage, and spiritual like warfare that I was going through. Because remember, we didn't even have church, so you really had to do this thing by yourself. This is COVID, so like trying to deal with all of that, I was all over the place, and I was depressed again, because this person, I'm gonna just keep it real, I feel like this person was just using me for my body. That we were back in the same situation that we were in before, that it was just a situationship. It was no real commitment. The things that he was saying before about marriage, that it was out the window. That he started to say things that were clear as day. And one thing about God, he gonna allow that person to tell the truth. He was basically saying that you're too much for me. Like, I just think that if I was to ever be with you, that you would leave me in the end, because I won't be enough for you. To honor this fight that God has given us, and it's gonna ask your myself, but then I started to want to pursue other things. And as I explored other things that I like, I saw the disconnection. But I really wanted this person to be in my life. Like, I felt like, no, I don't want to date anybody else. I made up in my mind that this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. And mind y'all, I was like 19, like, girl, be for real. So like I said, it was a disconnect. Like, this person never asked about what I was doing, never seemed like they cared about what I was doing, what I was pursuing. So when you're with someone closely, when you're in a relationship with someone that's not in agreement, that's not supportive of where you're trying to go, what you're trying to pursue, what your goals are, that person can only distract you from going to where you're going. Because iron sharpens iron. Like, I've been saying that from the past 2 videos because it's so important. Who you are connected to can either bless your life or either drain you, can either deteriorate your life. So, you know, when they say birds of a feather flock together, that is true. And a lot of people don't like to acknowledge that, because if you are not going the same way, why are y'all flocking together? Why are y'all flying together? Why are y'all going to the same direction? Y'all may not have the same goals, right? But if y'all are like-minded, y'all going to be going the same way. But if you are connected to people who are not good for you, yeah, y'all going to be going the same way, but it's not going to be the way that God called you to go. And that's the difference. Birds of a feather do flock together. When do you see that people in a group of friends is the person that's the smartest one, that they reach their full potential? You can be the smartest one in your friend group and you're capped. Because if you don't get out of that friend group, it's not to say that they're not good for you, but if you don't expand your community to be around people who are above you, who are smarter than you, people who can pour into you, give you a different perspective, you're going to remain tapped at that low place. That means it stunts your growth, and that is so dangerous. Because we are people. God created us to always grow, and the evolution of our lives, like, we grow every year, every day we learn, we're learning. We're not a dead people, we're alive. So at any moment you can transform your life. At any moment you can change. At any moment God can give you a new idea, a new thing, a new zeal that you can pursue, something new at any given moment. So yeah, birds of a feather do flock together, because where are we going? That is so important. I want you to write down clearly, why is this not working and what is not working? People, places, and things. So the people can be the toxic people that you know are not right for you. It can be your job. That's the place. Like, you know this job's not for you. Like, it drains you. You don't feel fulfilled. You feel lost. You feel like you're not making enough. And you know God has called you to live an abundant life. He did not call you to live paycheck to paycheck. So it's just like, okay, how is this not fulfilling me? Those are the things that you need to write down. What about this is not fulfilling me? What about this is wrong? What about this is not working for me anymore? Be real and be clear. No matter how much it hurts, write it down with tears falling down your eyes, but write it down. So of course, this is not going to be easy. You're going to feel a whole bunch of emotions. You're going to feel sad. You're going to feel disappointed in yourself, but go through the motions. Give yourself grace. This is what it's all about. Suppress it. The more you suppress it, the more you suppress who you are meant to be. You have to fit it. You have to fit it. Sorry. So yes, the feeling of disappointment, the feeling of sadness is going to be there. Approach it as such. And you got to go into prayer about it. God, I feel sad. Ask you right down to a mental spirit is that communication to the Father. Getting into that role. I always say that. That's what's going to fill you up. When you feel like you're pouring out so much, you need to be infilled. I don't even know if that's a word, but when you need to be filled back up, get into their life, any mess into their life, and they live messy lives. Right here is so important. You have to shift your mindset from thinking that you're losing someone or you're losing something to what you're gaining. You have to think about what you're gaining from letting go of this person. You're not losing. And that's what's going to be the game changer in your mind, especially your life's possibilities and what God has for you. Remember, we just read Jeremiah 29:11. He has great plans for you, plans to not harm you, but give you a great future. So it's inevitable that is going to be the story of your life, that it's going to be great after you let go of what's not for you. There's no way that you holding on to what's not for you is going to bless your life. And you will grow so much as a person once you finally learn to let go. You'll not only grow in like your confidence in yourself, but you'll start to attract better people. You'll start to attract people who will love you for you. People get a new routine, implement some self-care in there. Also implement your word, your spending time with God, but definitely get a routine. Get it down pat. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in a year from now? What does that person do on a daily? There's so many videos out there. If you want to be an accountant, if you want to study to be an RN, what does that RN do on a daily to make sure that their day is successful, to make sure that their goals are accomplished? So those are the things. You search endlessly. You search. You put all of your energy into that, and you find out, right? You find out, right? You mess around and find out. So mess around and find out what you need to do, what routines you need to implement, and what good habits that you need to incorporate into your daily life. And of course, when you're letting go, you're going to be brokenhearted because it's going to be sad. You're mourning people who are not dead. You're mourning old relationships. You're mourning what you thought was going to work out. You're mourning what you thought was going to be in your life forever. So it's okay. But in the word, in Psalms 1, chapter 147, verse 3, it says, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. So God is never going to leave you brokenhearted for too long. You can cry it out, but God is going to mend every broken place in you. But you have to give Him your heart. You have to surrender it to Him. You have to surrender your emotions, surrender what you're going through to Him. And He's...
I'm sure that if I took even one sniff, it would bore me terrifically too. Yet I get a kick out of you. I get a kick every time I see you standing there before me.
I get a kick, so it's clear to see you obviously don't adore me.
I get no kick in a plane, flying too high with some gal in the sky is my idea of nothing to do. Yet I get a kick out of you.
It isn't your sweet conversation that brings this sensation. Oh no, it's just the nearness of you.